Hey everyone, welcome back to Tan's Top 10 channel. So this weekend, my most anticipated movie of 2022 came out, The Batman. As you guys can tell, I am an enormous Batman fan, and I was so excited for this movie. I love Matt Reeves as a director. He did the last two Planet of the Apes movies. He did Cloverfield, Let Me In. He's a great director, and I was so excited to see that he got to take over for Batman because I really trusted him as a director. And we got a 3 hour long movie. It was a lot more serious, crime thriller, detective, murder, serial killer kind of Batman movie. And I will get to my thoughts about it in the list of my top 10 favorite Batman movies. That's what we're going to be doing today. I'm only going to do theatrically released video or movies. So any of the spin-off animated movies, I'm not going to count those. They have to be theatrically released. So just a little heads up, if I was just doing any Batman movie, Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and Part 2, I kind of just conclude these as one movie. This would probably be in my top 3 at least. I adore this animated movie. Please check it out if you have not. It's amazing. It's one of the best animated Batman movies ever. So I'm also not going to include either Justice League movie, not Justice League or Zack Snyder's Justice League. I don't really count those as Batman movies. That's kind of like saying, oh, my third favorite Captain America movie is Avengers Endgame. That's just weird. So just doing straight up Batman movies. And yeah, let's get right into it. So kicking off the list at number 10 for my favorite Batman movies. This, I have to include this one at number 10 because what else am I going to pick? Batman Forever. You can pretty much count this as a dishonorable mention. Same with Batman and Robin. Honestly, I think I'd rather watch Batman and Robin, even though it's definitely the worst film. Batman Forever, it's not great. It's way too silly. Val Kilmer is actually a pretty good choice for playing Bruce Wayne Batman. I think he's probably better as Bruce Wayne than he is Batman. His lips just kind of look weird when he's Batman, and they give him terrible dialogue. I'll get drive-through. Like, that's terrible. The script is awful in this movie. And you also have Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey as the two villains, Two-Face and the Riddler. That could work in a different movie with a different director and a different script and definitely different makeup and costumes because it's just way too silly. This movie is made for a kid, not for adults. It's just way too silly for me. I've only watched it once, and I don't ever feel like rewatching it ever again. So, Batman Forever coming in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. This will just be the Ultimate Edition, which this is. I never liked this movie. I saw it in theaters, the theatrical version, obviously. Did not like it. I thought it was way too long and clunky. The story pacing is just fucked. Like, the story is fucked anyways. Like, there's so much going on. They should have just shortened this movie up and just made it Batman against Superman. I will say my favorite part of this movie is Batman. I freaking love Ben Affleck as Batman and Bruce Wayne. I think he might be one of the best Batman we've ever seen on screen. He's probably the biggest and like bulkiest. I like how he's kind of playing an older Batman, and his fight scene in the warehouse against all the thugs, possibly one of the best, possibly the best Batman action scene we've ever seen in a theatrical movie. I think it's awesome. His fight with Superman is pretty cool, but I don't know. It's a 2.5 hour long movie, the theatrical. Ultimate Edition is 3 hours long, and their fight is maybe like 15 minutes. That kind of sucks. And I don't know. Just never been a big fan of this movie. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor is terrible. I don't like this movie. I kind of feel like a lot of people are like, same with the prequels, are starting to come around and say like, oh, this is the best one we've ever seen. Same with the prequels. Those are the best Star Wars movies. Guys, no. These are bad movies. Bad script-wise, direction-wise, not good. Coming in at number 8 is going to be Batman 1989. I actually really like this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. Tim Burton does an excellent job at setting up the world of Gotham. Probably the second best Gotham we've ever seen in a Batman movie. I think he sets up the world beautifully. You actually feel like it's dark and gothic, and there's a lot of crime. It's just so lived in too, with all the characters. I think that Michael Keaton is a weird choice for Bruce Wayne and Batman, but he's pretty awesome. I really like Michael Keaton as Batman. And obviously, Jack Nicholson as the Joker is just inspired casting. He's so fucking good in this movie. So silly, but it brings a lot of energy to it as well. Um, I just, honestly, I really like this movie. Don't really have a lot of problems with it. Maybe Kim Basinger as Vicky Vale, I believe that's who she plays. Just a little too silly, or not silly. The romance is just not really there. I think it's just Batman versus Joker. It's just that's what the movie is, and it's a lot of fun. Just some elements maybe just don't hold up as well nowadays. Coming in at number 7 is a movie a lot of people probably won't even think of, the Lego Batman movie. I fucking adored this movie. Seeing it in theaters, I was dying of laughter within like the first 15 minutes. I think I had like tears just from laughing so hard. It's so silly, but it really understands the character of Bruce Wayne and Batman and all the jokes that you can poke fun at, but it also still has a lot of heart in the movie as well. You got awesome voice cast with Will Arnett, I believe, is playing Batman. You got Zach Galifianakis as Joker, Michael Cera as Robin, which makes sense. Um, it's a little weird that you got like Voldemort and Sauron, all these villains from different Warner Brothers properties coming into this movie, but they actually make it work. Kind of weird, but I really like this movie. I just don't rewatch it as often, but it's probably the funniest Batman movie we'll ever see. So, props to it for that. Coming in at number 6 is Batman Returns. A lot of people have this lower on their Batman list. I really like this movie. I obviously like it more than Batman 89. I think that Tim Burton just expanded on the world a lot more. Also, you have Danny DeVito as Penguin, who is freaking terrifying in this movie. He bites like a guy's nose off. Oh, it's so creepy, but it's awesome. I fucking love how dark this movie is. You have Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, which, oh boy, that is perfect casting. I don't think what's her name? Zoe Kravitz in the new one is really good as Catwoman, but I still think I prefer Michelle Pfeiffer. I just think that she really understands that character. She brings a lot of energy to the movie. Same with Penguin. They're just awesome. And then you got Christopher Walken in the movie as well. So I just love how much darker this movie is compared to a lot of other Batman movies and compared to these four, or these other three at least. Tim Burton just really understands this world. And, oh, how the fuck did I forget about the Danny Elfman score when talking about Batman 89? Sorry. Iconic scores, iconic Batman scores from Danny Elfman in these movies. So I really like Batman Returns, and it's one that I feel like rewatching pretty damn often. Coming in at number 5 is The Dark Knight Rises. I loved this movie when I first saw it in theaters. I think I saw it twice in theaters, and then I bought it the day it came out on Blu-ray. And I remember watching it in my bedroom on Blu-ray, and as soon as it ended, I rewatched it again. This movie's over 2.5 hours long, and I just watched it twice in a row when I first bought it. I love Tom Hardy as Bane. I think it's going to be really hard to top Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight. But I think Tom Hardy, it was wise to go with Bane because Joker is so mentally smart and psychotic, whereas Bane is more physically imposing for Batman, which I think was a good turn to go for this final movie. Really beat Batman physically. So I think Tom Hardy as Bane is just awesome. The story here does get a little convoluted. I used to love this movie. When I first saw it, probably would have ranked right next to The Dark Knight as my favorite Batman movie. With watches, it's kind of gone down. Just the story is really convoluted at times. Some really dumb decisions and coincidences. Fucking Joseph Gordon-Levitt shooting in a ricochet, killing the guy that's like kind of like tackling him or holding him. Really weird. I also think they should have killed Batman at the end of this movie with the bomb. I wish they would have killed him. I think it would have been a lot more emotional for them. Like the whole Alfred being at the cemetery at the end and like crying and saying like I failed you. I think it would have been a lot more emotional if they actually killed Batman instead of 2 minutes later just showing him he's alive and well at that cafe with Catwoman. Speaking of Catwoman, I really like Anne Hathaway's version. Just not one of my favorites. She's fine, but it is a really good conclusion to the trilogy. I just wish there was a few tweaks they could make it even better. So, Dark Knight Rises, movie I really enjoy, but kind of lessened my love of since release. Coming in at number 4 is actually a movie I watched for the first time last night, Batman Mask of the Phantasm. I don't own it on Blu-ray. I actually just ordered the Batman animated series complete collection on Blu-ray, and it comes in that collection. So in a couple days, I will have it on Blu-ray. But right now, I don't have it. I did watch on HBO Max last night for the first time, and I really liked this movie. I heard great things from other people that it's like probably the best animated Batman movie. It's up there. It is so damn good, especially from an animated movie from 1993. I think the animation is really well drawn, really cool hand drawn animation. I think they do really well with characters and relationships and building tension within a runtime of like 73 minutes. It's incredible. I think Phantasm is an awesome villain. I think it would be really cool to see him in a him slash her, if you've seen the movie. I think it'd be really cool to see them in a live action format. So I think that would be really cool to see sometime soon. Fingers crossed, Matt Reeves, you bring Phantasm into your movies. I just think this movie is really, really shocking and surprising. You obviously have Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy as Batman and Joker. Fantastic use of the Joker in this movie, used very sparingly, but he is so much damn fun in this movie. A lot of energy he brings to this film. I just really like this movie. I had high hopes for it, and it delivered. They did a great job with relationships and emotion, and it paid off. So, Mask of the Phantasm, number 4. Great job. Coming in at number 3 is Batman Begins. I remember the first time I saw this movie, my uncle called my mom and was like, hey, I'm watching a new Batman movie. Does Tanner want to come over and watch it? And I remember going to his house to watch it late at night. And it was pretty much the last like 20 minutes of the movie I watched. And I'm like, oh, that was the shortest Batman movie I've ever seen. Like, what the heck? Why was it so short? I didn't realize that there was another 2 hours of this movie. So when I bought it on Blu-ray, I was able to watch it. Really, really like this movie. I think compared to like what Joel Schumacher did, from Joel Schumacher, Batman and Robin to Batman Begins, it is crazy like how different these movies are. But the best thing they could have done is give Batman property to Christopher Nolan and just trust him as a director to build out this world, build these characters, these relationships, and just expand on, let him have his vision. It paid off big time. Batman Begins is an awesome origin story. You really get to see Christian Bale as Batman and Bruce Wayne kind of flesh him out as a character. You have Michael Caine as Alfred, still my favorite Alfred. He's so damn good. He brings a lot of humor. Same with Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox. I also think that Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul is an awesome villain. Really cool twist at the end there with him and Ken Watanabe. I also really like Scarecrow in this movie. I just wish they would have used them maybe a little bit more because Scarecrow is one of my favorite Batman villains. And I think they could have used him even more in this entire trilogy because he's in every single Dark Knight movie. But I wish he would have been used a little bit more in each movie. I just love Scarecrow, I'm sorry. But yeah, I really like this movie. Probably my biggest problem with this movie is the fight choreography. I just think it's so shaky and so quickly edited, and I don't really think the action in this movie is that well shot, especially the fight scenes between Batman and like thugs. I don't know. That's probably my biggest con with this movie. Other than that, I really like this movie, and I think it's an awesome setup for an awesome trilogy. So good job, Christopher Nolan. All right, guys, down to the last two. This was one of the hardest decisions I've had to make on this channel between these top two. But as of right now, my number two, only because it's the most recent one, is The Batman 2022, the new one. I fucking loved this movie. I adored pretty much everything about it. I think Matt Reeves sets up possibly the best Gotham right next to Tim Burton. Those two are fighting for the best Gotham. Nolan trilogy is great, but I don't think they use Gotham that well in that entire trilogy. It just didn't really feel like a world lived in and like a character in it, so in and of itself. Wow, I can't talk. I think Matt Reeves sets up an awesome Gotham where people actually feel like they fear Batman. Like Batman should be scary to criminals. And they prove it in this movie. Criminals are shitting their pants, even if they're just looking at an alleyway. And they don't know if Batman's in that dark alleyway, but he just might be. And they fucking take off the other way. And you can tell those people are afraid of Batman. I love that he fucking made an awesome Gotham City in this movie. And I can't wait to see what they do with it in future sequels if they get any. I also think Robert Pattinson is possibly tied with Ben Affleck as my favorite Batman. Batman, not Bruce Wayne. I don't know if we got to see a little bit more of his Bruce Wayne for me to kind of give an opinion of that. He's not really Bruce Wayne in that much in this movie. This is a Batman movie. He is Batman a good chunk of this movie, and he is fucking phenomenal in this movie. Holy shit. He is so good. He's so dark and brooding, but he also looks physically imposing. He's really tall, especially in his boots. Like, you just hear his boots coming down an alleyway, and you're like, oh shit, this is the Batman. I was so fucking excited seeing that in theaters. Of course, you have Paul Dano playing the Riddler. The Riddler is another villain that I've wanted to see in a live action format, in a dark, serious Batman movie. They nailed it in this movie. When I heard that they were doing the Riddler kind of like as the Zodiac killer, I was so excited because Zodiac, David Fincher's Zodiac, is one of my favorite movies of all time. And when I heard they were kind of going that route, I was so excited. Fucking nailed it. Great job, Matt Reeves. And for a 3-hour long movie, this movie actually flows really well. I do think it starts to teeter off towards the last third. The conclusion could have been a little bit tighter, a little bit more epic, I want to say. Like, there's a lot of shit going down in this movie, and I feel like the third act just wasn't as great compared to the first two acts. But it's such a minor quibble for this, like, for how epic and how intriguing and invested you are into this movie. It is so fucking relieving to finally have another good Batman movie. Seriously, I was so damn happy walking out of the theater. I can't wait to see more of this world. You also have Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. She was awesome. Awesome addition. She had great chemistry with Robert Pattinson as Batman. They're Batman and Catwoman. This was awesome. I can't wait to see more of them in the sequels. My only complaint of this movie, besides the third act kind of teetering off, there's one scene in the third act. I'm not going to spoil it. It involves Riddler and one other person. I don't think we needed that scene in this movie. It's pretty much a post-credit scene that's thrown into the end of the movie. I don't think we needed it. I think the movie could have worked just perfectly fine without it. It's kind of like, feels like it was like obligated by the studio to be thrown in there, and it just kind of felt tacked on. Other than that, I fucking love this movie. There was one scene in here involving a contraption around a guy's neck with a bomb, and Batman kind of solving some riddles. I was fucking riveted by this scene. I was so white-knuckled, and I was like, this is one of the greatest movie scenes I've ever seen or superhero movie scenes I've ever seen in a theater. I was so happy, so pleased with this movie. And honestly, with further rewatches, this could bump up to number one. It's that damn good, guys. Please watch it if you have not. Go to the theaters and see this movie. It is so damn good. An awesome Michael Giacchino score. Just point that out. And the use of the Batmobile in this movie. Fuck yes! When you see the Batmobile in this movie, holy shit, was that awesome. My bat nips were hard. Let's just say that. So, Batman 2022 is at number 2, but you have no idea how bad I wanted to put it at number 1. It's just so recent, I just feel bad if I would put it at number 1. But it could make it there someday. So, go check it out, guys. It's damn well worth it. But coming in at number 1, obviously it's going to be The Dark Knight. This used to be my favorite movie of all time. I've seen The Dark Knight. It's probably in my top 5 movies that I've seen the most times in my life. I mean, what can I say about this movie that hasn't been said? It's one of the best comic book movies of all time. It's one of the best, some people would consider it to be one of the best films ever made. I mean, you got Christian Bale as Batman. I really like his Batman. He's not really my favorite. I think he's a really good Bruce Wayne as well. Kind of plays like the two parts really well, and nice and different each time. Obviously, Heath Ledger's Joker. I feel like that's the reason why this movie is I've kind of lessened my love of this movie is Heath Ledger as the Joker is so fucking good in this movie and overpowers this movie so much that some people might be blind to some of the faults in this. Like the whole Lau storyline and like him going to China and Batman having to go to China to bring him back to Gotham. I just don't really like that part of the movie on rewatches. Like I feel like I kind of like to skip that part. I just don't really get that storyline. Same with the ending. I wish the ending was a little bit more epic besides 2 ships, 2 bombs, 2 detonators. One's got to blow up the other. I just wanted a little bit more from the end of this movie. But what can I say? Fucking Heath Ledger as the Joker. Possibly my favorite movie performance of all time. It's up there. He's so incredible in this movie. Same with Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face. He is awesome in this movie. Very underrated. And the makeup effects with his face still hold up to this day. Honestly, this movie is just almost flawless. Almost. I also wanted to give a shout out to the Hans Zimmer score. Fucking phenomenal in this movie. And yeah, I mean, what can I say about Dark Knight that hasn't been said, guys? You've seen it. You know how great it is. I love it. I know it's not my favorite movie of all time anymore. I still love it, guys. Okay, it's the best Batman movie, even though I think of it more as a Joker movie now. That's why the new one might eventually overtake this as my new favorite Batman movie. But I don't know. Gotta rewatch the new one a couple more times. But as of right now, The Dark Knight is still my number 1 favorite Batman movie of all time. Well, guys, that is it. That is the list. My top 10 favorite Batman movies of all time. Obviously, I have a bunch of animated ones here as well. Assault on Arkham is really good. I got the 1966 Batman with Adam West right there. That's campy. You got Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. That's a really good animated one. I think this came out in like the 90s. Really good anime movie. And then, this one's disappointing. Batman Killing Joke. Half a good movie. First half sucks. Second half is what you want from the Killing Joke. And right here, Under the Red Hood. Very good Batman movie. If you have not played Batman Arkham Knight, I would probably watch this first. And it's pretty much the same storyline. But yeah, I'm a big Batman fan, as you can tell. So please share down below what your favorite Batman movies are. If you want to do your top 10, that'd be awesome. If you want to throw in the animated movies that I have behind me that I was talking about, you can throw those in there. I just did theatrically released. It just felt more right. Yeah, and just if you have seen the new Batman movie, let me know down below what you thought of it and if you were in love with it as much as I was. Fucking I love that movie, goddamn. It was so good. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and comment below, and subscribe to the channel if you have not, and we'll see you next time.